Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, Toby Smith. This is the next big thing. We have a couple of guys who we've spent a fair amount of time with at NBT Equities Research. Colin Tay is one of the founders. He's the president of Chinatel Group. And George Alvarez on the right of your screen. Give him a high sign, George, would you? Otherwise, you know, there we go. All right. George is the president founder as well, or excuse me, our chairman CEO of Chinatel Group. Those of you who've been with me for a number of years know that we have been a big supporter of what Chinatel Group is doing. When we first started with them, they were working on a minority interest in building a network for Chinacom, which is one of the larger carriers in China. It was a single sort of company strategy, and boy, I'll tell you, between 2010 and 2011, Chinatel has now essentially gone to what we call as Chinatel 2.0, where they've gone from a single company to multiple companies that are consolidating their revenues onto the income stream or income sheet of Chinatel. And there are so many exciting things they've done. Let's get right to it. For people who are not familiar with Chinatel, we started covering them in 2008. They survived 2009, and we started following them closely in 2009, 2010. They have built a whole bunch of exciting things. So let's get to it. George, your goal in 2011, tell us about those goals and where we are right now on them.
Well, let's go back a little bit to what you just discussed. In 2010, we decided, Colin and I and our board and our investors, that we needed to attract assets where we could consolidate revenues and increase that consolidation with multiple sources. So in 2010, that was the goal, to increase our asset base from Chinacom. We accomplished that, adding Golden Bridge and Sino Crossings to the mix, the fiber and another operator in China. 2011, we roll right into launching the networks that have been under deployment for the last 18 months in China and in Peru. We'll start seeing those launches this summer, all the way through the end of the year. So that was our primary goal for 2011. But also to continue that that search for additional relationships around the world, for which our goal now for 2011 is to increase our footprint from China, South America, and also Eastern Europe and Russia.
All right, well, we'll get to those in a second, because those are, I think, the exciting parts. Colin, you've been sort of the lead guy in China. Among, I don't know, these 7 languages that you speak. I know you do a fairly good Mandarin. But tell us about Chinacom, because Chinacom is the first one out of the box here. They're going to be deploying now in Beijing and in Shanghai a new data network. That starts basically June 1st, correct?
Yes, exactly. They have actually started.
And because you guys have a minority interest, in other words, your interest is not a controlling interest. So that's when we talk about consolidating assets. What we're saying is that when Chinatel, the parent company, has a controlling interest in one of your operating companies, you get to recognize that income on your income statement. Tell us with Chinacom. You guys now have announced that you're in negotiation. Tell me about that.
Well, indeed, Chinacom is the first deal that we have done in Asia, or rather for the company. And during the initial stage, what we have negotiated was, according to the PRC laws, right, foreign entities could only invest up to 49%. And because we are minority shareholders and without the control of the board, we are unable to consolidate our finances into our main company in Chinatel Group. So in that regards, we are working towards discussing with our partners that in certain ways, if we were to control the operation, control the board, and that would allow us to consolidate off all our financials in future deployment to our Chinatel Group.
Okay, well, and that would be, obviously, that's the goal that you have, and that's a negotiation. But, I mean, I do think that both for Chinacom and for Chinatel, creating an entity now, I guess because of the new, after the 2008 laws, you can actually, you've done this structure with your Golden Bridge network, with your Sino Crossing deal, where you own 49%, but you control 3 out of the 5 board seats. That gives you effective control. That's the goal that you'd like to get to in Chinacom, correct?
Exactly. In China, this is the goal we are working on, and we hope to have control of the board.
All right. Well, we're going to go a little bit long on this segment because I want to talk about the new network deals that we're working on. George, we talked about Russia, Central Europe. You have a variety of people who are sort of in that same situation where they owned spectrum that was workable for a data network, but technology had not quite caught up. And now you're at a point where you have letters of intent, as I understand it, with numerous carrier partners in Central Europe. How would that work? And then you're changing the model, I understand. You're actually going to a 75%, 25% split.
Correct. We feel that the successful launch of our model in South America and in China validates our concept, which is namely maximizing the spectrum utilization, focus our capital resources to deployment using our vendor partners and their financing capabilities to generate those revenues. So we did that, and we're currently in LOIs in 9 countries in Eastern Europe and Russia that I hope to conclude, Colin and I hope to conclude over the next 30 days. Part of the plan, because our model is quite simple with regard to very cost-effective deployment dollars and an entry point in the market of $8 to $12 subscriber ARPUs that we feel could gain us substantial shares of those markets.
Well, there's no question. We're going to come back and talk more about your new stuff as well as the model. But clearly, the new model here for Chinatel is that you come in with a partner who has spectrum. You provide all the financing, you deploy it, you put the capital up, make it happen. And your point is now, because you're doing that and you're not doing that in a China where you're limited to 49%, you're looking at 75% shares, they're consolidating, and you're going to be the low-cost carrier. So when we come back, I want to talk about how you guys are able to build these networks so cheap, how ZTE, your partner, fits into that strategy, and then we're going to talk about the actual product, because you guys are going to be selling one hell of a product, it sounds to me, at 10 times the speed for 200% less cost. Now that's something I want to do. That's the next big thing. We'll be right back with Chinatel, Colin Tay, and George Alvarez after this.